So now that the Bucks are eliminated, what exactly is next for them? And the thing that a lot of people are talking about is, well, first of all, we need to establish that they need to make a move pretty quickly if they want to keep or have any hope of keeping Giannis. So let's get that straight. Do I think they're even going to make that move? Well, it's debatable. But if they were to make a move, the move I think they should make is to trade for Chris Paul. And people are saying, oh, what about Chris Paul's salary? That's not going to work out well. But it could. Like, here's the thing. You can make the salary work because if you trade Chris Middleton and Ersan Ilyasova to the Thunder, as well as like some picks or something. I know Middleton is like Giannis's running mate, but that's a good trade for both sides. Because now Giannis has that guard who can actually like run the offense, so they're not like easy to guard and crap in the playoffs. And they can fill in the holes in free agency, you know, after making this trade. And for the Thunder, it works out because now you're adding an all-star to the mix, and you're getting more picks to rebuild with. And there's also, I mean, not yet, but there will be some cap relief there as well at the same time for the next free agency, so that's okay. And so that's why it works out, because now the Thunder will continue to be really competitive. Well, not really competitive. They'll continue to be competitive and probably be in the playoffs, while still maintaining the rebuild. They have a ton, an absolute ton of draft capital. And that's going to be incredibly helpful. And so what you could do is you could just like move Giannis to small forward, and then you would have that would strengthen your bench a lot with Bledsoe coming off the second unit. I know he's been a starter his whole career, but I'm sure he wouldn't mind trading his starting role for a championship. Because that's exactly what you would immediately be moving yourself into the position to get. So, like, the Chris Paul trade's a good idea. Another idea, this is a bad idea, but it's something they could do, is just to run it back again. Now, that would work, and they'd be asking to lose Giannis if they did that, but it's always an option, I suppose. Or they could, Giannis needs to also work on getting any jump shot, literally any jump shot. A mid-range shot even would help immensely, because right now, part of the problem is Giannis is just super easy to guard with him only being able to score in the paint. There's only one defensive strategy you need from Milwaukee. And that defensive strategy is clog up the paint, force Giannis to take jump shots, or bait him into taking jump shots, and it works because then you're forcing the Bucks role players to beat you, and they're a little questionable sometimes. Like, pretty questionable actually sometimes. And then there's the offensive system is not where it should be either. You need more movement in your playbook, like a lot more movement, because when Giannis is on the floor, you know, they just run Giannis up to the key and then have him go from there, but everyone's kind of like in a set position. Well, when Giannis wasn't there in the last two games, everyone was a lot more, there was a lot more motion, it was much more fluid. it became more difficult to guard because it was an actual offense, which I'm sure helped a lot. The other thing is you just try and just try to get some players that might fit better. Now, they don't exactly have the cap room to do that. Wesley Matthews has been pretty surprising for them, actually. But like more guys like Kyle Korver who can just, you know, absolutely everything, you know? Trying to get somebody else who can create their own shot is really the big point. I'm not sure about any like free agents to fill the small forward position. I know, so I don't think they're a free agent, but someone like Rudy Gay would be good to fill in the small forward for Giannis if Chris Middleton is traded, because, you know, Rudy Gay can kind of hit threes, he's pretty good on defense, he's a scorer, that works out. Yeah, kind of just filling the gap. And for OKC, again, it works because they can just slide Shai Gilgeous-Alexander back to point guard, or they could start Dennis Schroeder. Although I think he's better as a sixth man, to be perfectly honest. So they do that, or they start Dennis Schroeder and play Shai at the 2. If you play Shai at the 1, then you can think about, if Lou Dort develops offensively enough, you could also think about starting him for his defense. And if he can just get consistent on offense, that would work out for them quite well. So then you would have something like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Lou Dort, Chris Middleton, Danilo Gallinari, and Steven Adams. Now you're telling me that's not a pretty dang good starting 5, especially for a team that's quote-unquote rebuilding. That's pretty amazing, actually, if you were able to just walk away with that from this trade. I definitely think it's lower risk, higher reward for OKC, because there's a question of, well, how will Chris Paul age and all that, you know? And I think he'll be fine. I think the number one thing Milwaukee should do is trade for Chris Paul. There might be other options, but this is, I mean, this is the move. And also, if you just think about Chris Paul, I know this isn't relevant, but Chris Paul deserves the championship so much. He's like the unluckiest player ever. And I really think Milwaukee would be huge title contenders if they could get Chris Paul. But anyway, they just need to do something before it's too late.